have one tattoo. It's really small. It's right here on my wrist. And I like tattoos. I think they're really cool. But it took me a long time to finally decide what I wanted, which is totally fine, right? A tattoo is a big deal. Most of us leaders treat every single decision like it's a tattoo, like it's permanent, like it's forever. Like if we get it wrong, it's just going to be written on our skin for the rest of our lives and everyone's going to see it and judge it and it can never be undone. So today, I want to walk you through a framework that I've started using in my own business, in my coaching, honestly, just in my life decisions that has completely changed how I think about decision making. And I think it's going to change it for you too. And this episode is going to be quick, it's super tactical, it's grab and go. So let's get into it. Okay, why do we obsess over decisions? Here's what I know for sure about the women I work with, and I bet it's true for you too. You don't stress over decisions or struggle to make them because you're not smart enough to make decisions. You're not struggling because you don't care. You're struggling because you care so much and you feel so much pressure to get it right that the weight of the decision itself just becomes paralyzing. And I get it. When you're leading a team, every decision you make has a ripple effect. You're not just deciding for yourself. You're deciding for the people who work for you, for the clients who depend on you, for this version of your business that you're trying to build. And that's a lot of pressure to put on any single choice. So we start to feel it all. The fear of regret. What if I look back and realize I made the wrong call? The fear of looking stupid. What if I make a big announcement and then change my mind and I have to walk it back? Or just the fear of letting people down. This one is a big one for me. What if I hire this person and it doesn't work out and this whole team is counting on me hiring the right person? And the sneakiest little one is perfectionism disguised as strategy. Perfectionism looks at you and says, you're just being thorough. You're just doing your due diligence. You're just waiting until you have enough information to make the right call. And that sounds so responsible, but it's just fear. Here's the thing I'm going to keep coming back to. Leaders don't get into paralysis by analysis or this heavy weight of decision fatigue because they lack the ability to make the right choice. They freeze because they overestimate permanence. We act like every decision is this irreversible thing that will define us forever. So we research more, we ask more people, we sleep on it, and then we sleep on it again and again. And then we convene a committee about it and decide to think about it with some other people. We tell ourselves we just need more information before we can move forward. But friend, no amount of thinking and overthinking removes uncertainty. I'm going to say it again. No amount of thinking removes uncertainty. You're never going to reach a point where you have enough information to 100% guarantee an outcome. It just doesn't exist, right? And every hour you spend trying to find it is an hour you're stuck. It's an hour you're not moving, an hour your team is sitting in limbo and your business is just paying the cost of waiting. And I'm not minimizing the importance of your decisions. As a business owner, a coach, a parent, I make decisions every day that are just me doing the best with what I know today. Just yesterday, I had to make a decision about whether or not to take my kid to the doctor. He was complaining of foot pain. He's 7. I wasn't seeing swelling. He could bear weight. He was checking off all the things that Dr. ChatGPT was asking me to check, but he was saying that he was in pain. And I know him. He has a high pain tolerance. The kid just broke his wrist a few weeks ago, falling off the top bunk, and then he went right back to sleep. I didn't get him checked until the next day. So I know right now I'm showing you all my Parent of the Year cards. Oof. But I was going back and forth yesterday, right? Like I wanted to not waste time. I didn't want to feel dumb for taking my kid if they're like, nothing is wrong. But regardless, I had to make a decision. So I did make a decision. I took him. Turns out he was just fine. And now we know, right? Just doing the best I could with what I knew. It wasn't about whether the choice was right or wrong. It was just about making a choice, just doing it. So I'm going to jump into a framework that you will absolutely love because it's so good. I actually learned this from a friend who was talking about the weighty decisions of school choice. So here's what it is. Every time you feel yourself stuck in a decision, I want you to ask yourself one question before anything else. Okay? Ready for this very deep, very intelligent, very weighty question? Here it is. Is it a hat, a haircut, or a tattoo? I know, it's basically rocket science. So let's start with the hat decisions, okay? A hat is low consequence, fully reversible. I put on a hat, I don't like it. So I take it off and I choose a new one. So think about things like a new workflow with your team, or changing the cadence of your weekly meetings, testing a new software tool, or posting a piece of content in a new format, or saying yes to an opportunity just to see how it feels. These are hat decisions. You can put them on, you can try them out. And if they're not working, you just take it off immediately. No damage done, no crisis, no recovery period needed. So the leadership lesson here is simple: take the step, friend, put on the hat. Just do it. When you're sitting with a hat decision, the question you need to ask is, what is the actual downside if this doesn't work out in 2 weeks? And 9 times out of 10, the honest answer is not much. You tried something, it didn't work. You know more now than you did before. You pivot and you move on. And here's what I see over and over again. Someone has a hat decision in front of them and they treat it like it's a tattoo. They call a team meeting about it. They research for weeks. They ask 5 people what they think. They get 5 different opinions, and now they're more confused than when they started. All for a decision that would have taken them 10 minutes to try and 2 minutes to reverse if it did not work. And that's expensive, not just in time, in your energy, in your momentum moving forward, in the message it sends to your team about how decisions get made around here. Hat decisions need to move fast. Okay, moving on to haircut decisions. A haircut is a medium consequence decision, right? It might cause some discomfort for a little bit, temporarily. It might look ugly for a second, but it is recoverable. Hiring someone on your team, for example, okay? Changing something about your business strategy, moving into a new role, or making a new offer, launching a new product, setting a boundary with a client that you've been putting off. These are haircut decisions. Here's the thing about haircut decisions that I love. A bad haircut feels permanent for about, I don't know, a week, right? 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, around there. You know what I'm talking about, right? You have this bad, literally a bad haircut. You get home, you look in the mirror, you're horrified. You text your best friend a photo with no caption, and she's like, oh, it's different, but I like it, right? You convince yourself that your hair will never grow back in this dramatic moment. And then 2 weeks later, you've adjusted. You've moved on. This is most leadership decisions, friend. They feel permanent right now, but can you recover in 3 to 6 months if things don't work out? That is the question to hold on to when you're in haircut territory. If this goes poorly, can we recover in 3 to 6 months? If the answer is yes, you should move. Okay. You don't move recklessly. You think it through. You talk to people who have done it, but you don't get to obsess over indefinitely. You don't get to use this, I'm still deciding, as a parking spot for the next year of your life. In this haircut space, this is where most of your leadership decisions actually live, which means most of your leadership decisions deserve thoughtful action, but not paralysis. Now, a tattoo. A tattoo is a different thing entirely. A tattoo decision is hard to reverse. I would say almost impossible. It's identity changing in the sense that it leaves a mark on your look, right? It has a long-term consequence that you'll be living with for a while. And sometimes those are good consequences. Sometimes they're bad consequences. We all have that friend with that one tattoo who didn't get enough thought in before that decision was made. So what are tattoo decisions? Selling your company, taking on significant debt, choosing a co-founder, making a public statement that you can't walk back, legal decisions, ethical decisions. These are tattoo decisions. And here's the only category where I want you to slow way down. Here's the only category where let me think about this for another week or more is the right answer. Get counsel, talk to people who have done it, sleep on it multiple times, ask hard questions, because yes, this one deserves that level of attention. The question for tattoo decisions is, will this still matter in 5 years? 5 years. If the answer is yes, slow down. If the answer is no, you might just be in haircut territory and you haven't realized it yet. So here's the thing that makes this whole framework so powerful, so easy. It's not the categories themselves. It's what happens when you actually use them. Because when you force yourself to categorize a decision, you almost always realize you've been treating a hat like a tattoo. And that matters so much because the energy required to make a tattoo level decision is huge. It is mentally exhausting. It requires so much research and counsel and time and emotional bandwidth. And when you apply that level of energy to a hat decision, you're drained, right? You create Bottlenecks, you slow everything down and you teach the people around you that decisions are hard and slow and painful. And they start doing the same thing, or they get frustrated and they leave. And that's how you end up with a team that can't move without you. That's how you become the bottleneck in your business. Exhaustion, indecision, loss of momentum, team confusion, all of it. And it's not because you are a bad leader, it's because you never had a system for sorting which decisions actually deserve that much of you. So I was telling you that I got this framework from a friend who was talking with me about school choice. And you might think deciding where to send your kid to school is a really big decision, and it should be one made with a lot of consideration. But honestly, it's just a hat. You decide to send them to that one school, it doesn't turn out the way you hope, so you make a change. You take off a hat, you put on another one. It kind of just is what it is. And friend, I say this with love, but so what? So what? Do you regret putting the first hat on? Sure, but it's over. Next hat, lesson learned. And honestly, this is exactly the kind of thing we dig into inside the freedom circle, like the actual on the ground stuff of leading a team, making decisions with confidence, and not letting the fear of getting it wrong keep you frozen. And if that sounds like what you need right now, the Freedom Circle waitlist is open. I would love to have you. You can check out the link in the show notes. Okay, now here's the clincher. You ready? Indecision is still a decision, usually the expensive one. When you put off the hiring, you make a decision. You've decided to stay understaffed and overworked for another month. When you put off the firing decision, you made a decision. You decided your team gets to watch a situation stay broken while everyone waits to see if you will address it. When you put off the hard conversation, you made a decision. You decided the relationship can absorb this growing tension indefinitely. And sometimes it can, but usually it can't. The cost of waiting is often higher than the cost of being wrong. Because being wrong, as uncomfortable as it is recoverable. Most of the time you can learn from it and adjust and move forward. But waiting costs you a lot of things. But sometimes it can even cost you your people. So, what is the practical takeaway? The next time you're sitting with a decision and you feel yourself starting to spiral a little, starting to research more when you already have enough information, starting to ask people and getting bombarded by so many opinions, I want you to run through these 4 questions. Okay, here it is. The first one: is it a hat, haircut, or tattoo? Name the category out loud. Actually say it. Actually write it down. 2, how reversible is this really? Not how scary does it feel, not what is the worst case scenario my brain can invent at 2 a.m. in the morning, but realistically, practically, what happens if this doesn't work out? Can you undo it? Can you adjust? Can you recover? 3, what's the actual cost of waiting? Not the imaginary cost you are thinking in your head, dooming about in terms of making the wrong decision, but the real cost, the cost to your business, your team, your energy. How much is staying frozen costing you right now? And 4, am I avoiding this because of real risk or because I'm scared? And I want to sit with that 4th question for a second because I think it is the most important one. Because sometimes the answer is real risk. Like sometimes the decision is genuinely complex and the hesitation is appropriate, and there are things legitimately you need to sort through before you can move. That's real. I'm not dismissing that. But sometimes the answer is just fear. Fear of being judged, fear of getting it wrong, fear of having to explain yourself, fear of letting people down, the discomfort that comes with any change. And fear is not a strategy, my friend. Okay, one more thing I want you to hear before I close this out. And this one is it, okay? Confidence usually comes after the move, not before it. We wait. We want to feel confident right before we decide. I want to wait until I feel so confident in this, and then I'll know it's the right decision. But most of the time, confidence is on the other side of the decision. It builds as you move, as you learn, as you discover that you can handle what comes next. You don't get to feel confident standing still. So here's what I'm going to leave you with today. Leadership isn't always about making the perfect decision. It's about learning which decisions actually deserve perfection. Most of them don't. Most of them are just hats. Some of them are haircuts. Very few are tattoos. And when you can sort them quickly, you stop burning tattoo level energy on hat level choices. You start moving faster and deciding clearer and leading with so much more confidence. So if it's a hat, put it on like today. Stop sitting on it. Put it on. See how it looks. Take it off if you hate it. If it's a haircut, think it through, but don't obsess. Give yourself a deadline. Make the call. It grows back. And if it's a tattoo, slow it down, friend. Get wise counsel. Sleep on it, okay? Just make that decision the right way. But whatever you do, don't stay frozen. Frozen is not safe, even though we like to think it is. Frozen is just expensive in a way that is harder to see. And hey, if this episode hit home, if you're in a season where you're building a team and trying to figure out how to actually lead them without losing your mind, I want you to check out the Freedom Circle. It is my membership community for founders with teams and managers, and it's the place where we work through exactly this stuff together. The conversations, the decisions, the moments where you feel like you have no idea what you're doing and you just need someone who gets it. So the waitlist is open right now. I would love to see you inside. So check it out at heycaralist.com/circle or grab the link in the show notes. Friend, you've got this. You are more equipped than you think and more capable than you feel in that moment of indecision. I believe that fully, and I'm over here cheering you on. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.